All right, let's dive right in. We're looking at Chelsea's big win over Panathinaikos.
Huge win, yeah.
In Athens. It was a Conference League match. And, well, the final score ended up 4-1 Chelsea.
Wow.
So we're going to unpack this official match report you provided and really see if we can figure out just how dominant a win it really was.
Absolutely. On the surface, it certainly looks like a statement, right?
Yeah.
But the scoreline doesn't always tell the whole story.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how the tactical elements played out and how those individual Chelsea performances really contributed to that final result.
For sure. And it wasn't all about celebrating goals, though, before the match even kicked off.
Right.
There was a stadium-wide tribute to Panathinaikos player George Bulldog. Yeah. Who sadly passed away recently.
Very sad, yeah.
Chelsea also presented a shirt in his honor. I mean, these gestures were incredibly moving to see, especially right in the middle of,
absolutely.
it's usually a big rivalry.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a powerful moment. It's a reminder that even amidst the, intense competition of professional football, there's this, shared humanity and respect between players and fans, It's something we often see in football, and it always resonates deeply.
Yeah, it definitely added another layer to the match. But once that whistle blew, the competition was fierce.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the tactical side of things, because I'm curious how Chelsea's manager, Enzo Maresca, approached this game.
Well, one of the most interesting aspects was how Chelsea's formation shifted throughout the match. They seemed to move seamlessly between a back four and a back three, just depending on whether they were attacking or defending.
Yeah, I noticed Disasi switching between center back and right back a lot.
Right.
And Cucurella seemed to push into the midfield when Chelsea had possession. Was this like a planned strategy by Maresca?
It seems that way, yeah. Having Disasi drop back provided extra cover on the flanks, which was likely a response to Panathinaikos' strength in that area. And pushing Cucurella forward gave Chelsea more control in the midfield, allowing them to, dictate the tempo of the game a little bit.
So it wasn't just about adapting to the opponent, it was also about utilizing Chelsea's strengths. It sounds like Maresca really did his homework on Panathinaikos and came prepared with a very flexible game plan.
Exactly, yeah. And this fluidity is something we're starting to see more of in Maresca's coaching style.
Okay.
He seems to encourage his players to be adaptable and able to control the game regardless of the opponent's setup.
I'm starting to understand why this Chelsea team is so difficult to predict.
Right.
It sounds like Maresca has created a system that allows them to be very dynamic and responsive during the match.
That's a great observation, yeah. This tactical approach, if they can maintain it, could make Chelsea a real force to be reckoned with this season. It's early days, but it's certainly an exciting development.
For sure. Okay, let's talk about those 4 Chelsea goals now. Joao Felix opened the scoring early.
Yeah, he did.
Thanks to a beautiful pass from Dewsbury Hall. That counterattack was executed perfectly.
It really was. Dewsbury Hall's vision and passing ability were on full display there. He split the Panathinaikos defense wide open with that pass.
Yeah.
And Felix's clinical finish was just the icing on the cake. I mean, that goal set the tone for Chelsea's dominance throughout the match.
Yeah, and then Mudryk put Chelsea 2-0 up early in the second half with a perfectly timed header.
Oh, he's in good form at the moment.
Yeah, he has been in great form lately.
But while Mudryk deserves credit for, his aerial prowess, we shouldn't overlook the quality of Neto's cross.
Yeah.
It was perfectly weighted in place, making it almost impossible for Mudryk to miss.
Yeah.
It was a great example of, how teamwork can lead to individual brilliance.
Right, and goals are rarely a solo effort.
Exactly.
And 2 of Chelsea's goals came from capitalizing on space out wide,
Right.
which really shows how effective their fluid formation was against Panathinaikos, a more kind of attack-minded fullbacks.
Yeah.
And then Felix grabbed his second goal with a deflected shot.
Ah, the old deflected goal. Always helps.
Always helps.
But, luck definitely played a part there. But you could also argue that Felix's consistent pressure on the Panathinaikos defense created that opportunity in the first place.
Right.
It wasn't like a fluke or anything.
No.
It's coming.
Yeah. And to round it all off, Nkunku confidently scored a penalty to make it 4-0.
Yeah.
The guy's a machine from the spot.
He is. His composure under pressure is so impressive. Penalties can be nerve-wracking, but Nkunku makes it look effortless.
Yeah.
It's a valuable asset for Chelsea, especially in those tight games.
Absolutely. Before we move on to some of the standout individual performances, we should probably at least mention Panathinaikos' consolation goal.
Yes, of course. Despite Chelsea's dominance, Panathinaikos did manage to pull one back late in the game. It was a well-worked move that resulted in Pellistri finishing. Clinically from close range.
It was a nice goal.
Yeah, you've got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, you have to give him credit for that. But overall, Chelsea were clearly the better team on the day.
Definitely.
Now I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on who stood out for you individually.
There were a few impressive performances, but for me, Dewsbury Hall was the engine that drove Chelsea forward.
That's interesting. I was impressed with him too.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
His intelligent passing, ability to disrupt Panathinaikos' attacks, and just the way he created chances for his teammates was crucial to their success, I think.
Right.
His assist for Felix's first goal was like a perfect example of his playmaking skills. He really controlled that midfield.
So for any fans of midfield maestros out there,
Oh, yeah.
Dewsbury Hall was the one to watch in this match.
Definitely.
And what about Mudryk? He seems to be
Yeah, he's starting to
find his feet
find his feet.
after a bit of a slow start at Chelsea.
He is, yeah. His pace, dribbling, and aerial ability were a constant threat to the Panathinaikos defense.
Yeah.
He scored a goal, helped set up another, and was involved in many of Chelsea's most dangerous attacks.
Yeah.
His confidence seems to be growing with every match.
That's great to see. He's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture now.
Okay.
What does this win mean for Chelsea in the Conference League?
Well, this win puts Chelsea at the top of their group,
Okay.
with a perfect record after 2 matches. And with a goal difference of +5, they've sent a clear message to their rivals.
So their chances of progressing to the next stage are looking pretty good then, right?
They are. They've given themselves a great foundation to build on. Now, before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into Chelsea's win,
Yeah.
let's not forget about the upcoming Premier League clash with Newcastle.
Oh, that's right.
I'm curious how you think this convincing win might affect their preparation and mentality going into that big match.
Well,
Because momentum is key in football. This dominant performance will surely boost their confidence going into that match.
Yeah.
They'll be looking to carry that attacking flair and tactical discipline into the weekend.
they'll need to be at their best to beat Newcastle, who are also a very, very tough opponent.
Oh, yeah, they are.
But this win in Athens should give them a psychological advantage.
For sure.
It's all about building on these positive results, gaining confidence, and making a statement. This Chelsea team seems to have found its groove.
Absolutely. And with a manager like Maresca who isn't afraid to experiment tactically
Right.
and empower his players, this Chelsea squad could be a real contender this season.
Absolutely.
And with a manager like Maresca who isn't afraid to experiment tactically and empower his players, this Chelsea squad could be a real contender this season.
It does feel like there's a renewed sense of energy and purpose around the club. Thinking back to their performance in Athens, it's clear that Chelsea are playing with confidence and a fluidity we haven't seen in recent seasons.
I agree. Their movement on and off the ball was impressive, and they seem to be always one step ahead of Panathinaikos. That's a testament to both the players' individual abilities and Maresca's tactical approach.
This tactical flexibility we've been discussing raises an interesting question. Do you think other teams will start to try and counter Chelsea's adaptability? And if so, how might they do it?
That's a great question. It's certainly possible that we'll see teams trying to find ways to disrupt Chelsea's fluid system. One approach might be to press them high up the pitch,
Oh, okay.
forcing them to make quick decisions and potentially disrupting their build-up play.
That makes sense.
Right.
By putting pressure on Chelsea's midfielders and defenders, they could prevent them from dictating the tempo and finding those dangerous passes we saw against Panathinaikos.
Exactly. Another tactic could be to try and overload the midfield, making it difficult for Chelsea to gain control in that area. We saw how effective they were at controlling the game through the midfield against Panathinaikos, so denying them that space could be key.
It'll be fascinating to see how Maresca adapts his tactics as other teams become more aware of Chelsea's strengths and try to neutralize them. It's this kind of tactical chess match that makes football so captivating.
I completely agree. The constant evolution of tactics and strategies is one of the things that keeps the game fresh and exciting. And with a manager like Maresca, who seems to relish this kind of tactical challenge, Chelsea fans are in for a very interesting season.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, I wanted to go back to something we touched on earlier.
Right.
The bigger picture for Chelsea this season. Given their performance so far, their tactical flexibility, and the individual talent within the squad, do you think this could be the year they reclaim their place as a European powerhouse?
It's certainly a possibility. They have all the ingredients for success: a talented squad, a shrewd manager, and a renewed sense of belief. But the road to European glory is long and arduous.
Yeah.
There will be many challenges ahead.
What kind of challenges do you think they'll face?
Well, they'll need to maintain this level of performance throughout the season, which is no easy feat. They'll also need to avoid complacency and stay hungry for success, even when things are going well. And of course, injuries and other unforeseen circumstances can always disrupt even the best laid plans.
That's true. And let's not forget the competition.
Right.
There are many other strong teams vying for European glory. So Chelsea will need to be at their best to compete at the highest level.
Absolutely. The Champions League is a different beast altogether, with the best teams in Europe battling it out for the ultimate prize. If Chelsea want to reclaim their place among the elite, they'll need to overcome some formidable opponents.
So while there's reason for optimism among Chelsea fans, there's still a long way to go and many hurdles to overcome. But regardless of what happens in the Champions League, their performance so far suggests that Chelsea are back on the right track and ready to compete at the highest level.
I couldn't agree more. They've shown a renewed sense of purpose and a tactical astuteness that makes them a threat to any team. It's an exciting time to be a Chelsea fan.
It's been fantastic getting your insights on this, and I'm sure our listener has found it incredibly helpful in understanding just how impressive Chelsea's victory was and what it might mean for the rest of the season. But before we go, I wanted to leave our listener with one final thought. We've talked a lot about Chelsea's attacking prowess and tactical flexibility, but one thing that stood out to me was their defensive solidity.
That's a great point. While their 4 goals grabbed the headlines, their defensive performance was equally impressive. They limited Panathinaikos to very few clear-cut chances and looked organized and disciplined at the back.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, could this newfound defensive strength be the key to unlocking their true potential? It's certainly something to watch as this season unfolds. Thanks again for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure. Always a joy to dissect such a fascinating match.
And to you, our listener, thank you for diving in with us. Until next time, keep exploring and keep the passion for the beautiful game alive.
It's been a pleasure. Always a joy to dissect such a fascinating match.
And to you, our listener, thank you for diving in with us. Until next time, keep exploring and keep the passion for the beautiful game alive.